Hi guys, my name is Chloe, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing a book haul. Now I've got tons of books stacked here. I've got 3 massive stacks because once again I've been terrible at filming this book haul when I should have done. I think the last one I filmed sometime in February, so these are going to be all the books I've hauled since February all the way up to the end of July, just because I feel like I should have cut it off, and then we can do August books in the next one, and hopefully I can remember to do the next one a bit closer so I don't have tons and tons of books. So yeah, I haven't gone super crazy. These are just all the books that I've hauled over the last 5 months. I don't know how many are here. I will count them at the end and find out. But yeah, let's get started. So the first book that I have in this haul is Ghosts of the Shadow Market by Cassandra Clare. This is one of the Shadowhunter short story collections, and in this one we are following Brother Zachariah. I have read this one. I read it quite a while ago and I really enjoyed it. It is my favourite short story collection in the Shadowhunter universe, and yeah, I can't wait to continue on with this series. The next book I hauled from a charity shop, and this is This Lie Will Kill You by Chelsea Pitcher. I picked this one up. It's like a YA thriller and I really enjoyed this one. It was really great. One thing that I really liked about this book was the imagery in this book. For YA thriller, it's written quite beautifully, even though we are following some characters as they want to find out who killed someone, and they're talking about all these dark secrets and stuff. But yeah, I had a great time with this one and I would recommend it over One of Us Is Lying, which apparently you should enjoy this book if you like that book, but I absolutely hated the other one, so there we go. The next book that I hauled, also from the same charity shop, is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I read this one and I thought it was very average. I think I gave it 3 stars, and I am gonna unhaul this one just because I don't think I'm ever gonna reread it again. I probably will read more from Emily Henry if I fancy it or see her books on a really good deal, but I'm not leaping out to pick up her books because yeah, this one was just very mediocre. The next book I also hauled secondhand, and this is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I have never read this one, and I also haven't read any of the author's other books as well. But yeah, it's not quite popular anymore, but I have heard quite a few people talking about this book. It's like a YA book, it's supposed to be quite sad, and for £1 I was pretty intrigued to find out what's going to happen, so I will hopefully get to this one soon. The next book I also hauled secondhand, and this is The Kingdom by Jess Rothenberg. This is kind of like a book that features a theme park almost like Disneyland, but it's kind of sci-fi-esque, and I was just very intrigued by that. I really love Disney, so I wanted to give this one a go. I do also own this one on Kindle because I picked it up for 99p, but I'm just more likely to pick up a physical book, so this is why I have this one. But we'll see. If it's not that great when I read it, I might unhaul this one and keep the ebook. The next secondhand book I have is The Woman on the Pier by B.P. Walter. I haven't heard anything about this book. Just when I was reading the synopsis, it was one that sounded kind of intriguing, and I tend to pick up most of my thrillers from charity shops anyway. There just seem to be loads there and I pick them up. So yeah, I don't want to look too much into this book. I will just get to it when I get to it. The next secondhand book that I hauled was The Savages by Matt Whyman. I haven't heard anything about this book. I have no idea what it's about. I was just pulled in by the cover art, which is absolutely stunning and almost gives me kind of like the Addams Family vibes. So yeah, I just picked it up. It looks like it's kind of like a creepy middle grade, if not YA book. I don't know too much about it, but autumn's coming up soon and I'll be wanting to pick up all of these spooky books. The next book I hauled was from the works, and this was Hook, Line and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. This is the sequel to It Happened One Summer, which I read and quite enjoyed, and I think I only paid like £2 for this book brand new, and I've heard people enjoy this one even more, so yeah, hopefully I can get to it. I did have plans to pick it up this summer, but summer's gone by so quickly, and also Baldur's Gate came out, so probably won't get to this one. The next book that I hauled was a must-buy for me and one of my pre-orders, and this was Hell Breaks Loose, part of the Skullduggery Pleasant series by Derek Landy. This was a standalone story that happened hundreds of years before the events of the main series. and I really enjoyed it. It was really, really fun. I had a great time seeing old characters again, getting to hang with characters that we knew but in the past, and there were elements of time travel and stuff in this book. It was really, really, really great. And yeah, I'm just going to pick up anything Derek Landy releases in the Skullduggery Pleasant universe because it's one of my faves. The next book I picked up when I was grocery shopping, and this was Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. At the time I was hearing lots of people talk about this book. It's a romance centered around ice hockey, I think. That's all I know about it, and the cover's really cute as well, and I love the baby blue and purple, so it's a really pretty edition. I picked it up. Haven't read it yet, might read it in the winter, maybe, maybe not. I've got quite a few like contemporary romances that I need to get to, and I always orientate more to fantasy romance first, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm intrigued to give this one a go, and I think it might have a sequel now, so we'll see when I read this one whether or not I get that one as well. Next is a book that I have already started but then put down because I just wasn't feeling it at the time, and this is Love in the Time of Serial Killers by Alicia Thompson. I picked this one up as well because of the cover. I thought that was really, really quirky. I love that it's got this element of serial killers in it, and it was blurbed by Ali Hazelwood, and she's one of my favourite authors. Picked it up and it was great, and then I was just reading it and I just couldn't sink in. I think I got, let's see, yeah, I read the first 60 odd pages, and at the time I think I was reading lots of other fantasy books and I was just really into those. So it's a soft DNF. I probably am gonna try this one again at some point, but for now I've decided to put it down. Next we have a couple of Waterstones pre-orders, and the first one is One for My Enemy by Olivier Blake. Now I did read The Atlas 6 by Olivier Blake, and I think I gave it 3 stars. I was very disappointed by that book considering all the hype it had, and I think if I remember correctly I adored the characters but didn't really feel like much happened. But yeah, this is written by the same author but its own story, and I think in this one is a Romeo and Juliet retelling, but it also involves witches, which was very, very intriguing, and I just adore this cover. Absolutely gorgeous, and it has gorgeous sprayed edges as well. And one thing that was a surprise for me is the end paper art as well, which I'd never seen before in a Waterstones edition, so I was absolutely blown away by that. Like, I get Fairy Loot books and it's almost expected, but seeing it in a Waterstones copy was just like amazing, especially since their special editions are cheaper. So yeah, that was really great. I'm gonna give Olivier Blake another shot, whether that be with the sequel of The Atlas 6 or this one. We'll see. But yeah, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous copy, so I really hope I enjoy it. The next pre-order that I bought is possibly a contender for favourite book of the year. We'll see how it goes, and this was In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. Ignore the tabs, which you actually can't see too much on camera, but yeah, it has gorgeous, gorgeous sprayed edges. And I read this book and it is my favourite TJ Klune book by far. Fell in love with it. These characters are everything to me. I just completely adored them. But yeah, the story's really, really, really great as well. It's like a fantasy sci-fi following a family of robots and one of the last remaining humans, and yeah, especially Rambo and Nurse Ratched. They're some of my all-time favourite characters from this year and I adored them. And yeah, I almost wish this book was longer, or that it was a series so we got to spend longer with these characters, but it's not at the moment, so there we are. But yeah, fantastic book, and I would highly recommend it if you want to read something by TJ Klune. That's the first stack down. Now moving on to the second stack. I did forget to say actually there is no order to these. I just put them in the piles depending on when I hoard them. I have a spreadsheet, so every time I haul a book it goes on there. So these are just in the order that I bought them, not really sorted in categories because I couldn't be bothered really. But yeah, moving on. The next books that we have are Deadly Dreams and Beautiful Nightmares, both by KJ Sutton. These are books 3 and 4 in the Fortuna Sworn series. At the moment I've only read the first 2 books and I haven't continued, and I would need to reread them. But yeah, this is a fantasy romance series and I've been having the best time so far with it. It's quite dark as well. But yeah, I hauled these because the series had been picked up by a traditional publisher, and I think the new ones are going to be hardback, and I just wanted to pick up the indie paperbacks before too many changes were made because I needed them to match my other copies that I had. Unfortunately, there is the 5th book coming out soon. I don't know what's happening with that, if we're still going to get the paperback release and a hardcover. Hopefully one that will match these enough that it doesn't irritate me, because yeah, these were very expensive and I'd like to have a matching set. The next book I hauled from a charity shop, and this was How to Stop Time by Matt Haig. I know nothing about this book. I think at the time I read the blurb and I thought it sounded interesting, and I've heard good things about books by Matt Haig. I do own The Midnight Library, haven't read that one either, so yeah, we'll see which one I get to first. The next book I also bought from The Works, which is actually one of my favourite places to shop at the moment. If you're in the UK and you haven't already, I would highly recommend checking out the books in The Works. There are some really popular books there, often for £5 or less. But yeah, anyway, this one is Within These Wicked Walls by Lauren Blackwood. Knew absolutely nothing about this book going in. I think it was only £2 or £3. And yeah, I think it has some kind of ghost element to it, and that's why I picked it up. Yeah, our main character is an exorcist and she's hired to get rid of spirits from different locations, and something goes down and the story goes off from there. So yeah, I saw ghosts and I picked it up really, so maybe I'll get to this one around Halloween time. The next book is another one that unfortunately has moved to my unhaul pile already, and this is One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. I gave this one 2.5 stars and I was really disappointed by this book considering the hype it has. It's one of the most popular YA thriller mysteries, and yeah, it just didn't hit the mark for me. I definitely recommend This Lie Will Kill You More, or even better if you're looking for a great YA thriller, read The Good Girl's Guide to Murder, because that is another contender for favourite book of the year at the moment. It's incredible. So yeah, this one will be going already. The next books I also hauled from a charity shop, and I was really thrilled to see them. Actually, it'd been ages since I'd seen this series sold anywhere, and these books are Neferet's Curse and Clune's Fall by PC and Kristin Cass. These are little novellas that accompany the House of Night series, which is one of my favourite vampire series from back in my teenage years. I still own them. I need to reread them to see if I still enjoy them. But yeah, it's just one of my all-time favourite series, and I only had 2 of these novellas before, and then I went into the charity shop and I found them, and they were on a 4 for £1 deal, so I picked them up along with some other books, and yeah, an absolute bargain. Now I just need to get around to them. The next book that I hauled was Immortality, a Love Story by Dana Schwartz, and yeah, I read this one. It was really great. It's the sequel to Anatomy and I had the best time. So the series is about a 4.5 star rating for me. It's absolutely great, and yeah, it's a historical fantasy, a little bit of romance set in Scotland, and you are following Hazel, and she wants to become a surgeon in a time where women aren't allowed to be surgeons. But yeah, I had a great time reading this book. The atmosphere was on point. I love the twists on historical events, absolutely great, and I would recommend this duology. Next we have another book that I have already read, and this is Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. Now this one I did actually listen to because the audiobook was on YouTube. I have no idea if it still is or not. If it is, check it out. It's absolutely incredible. But yeah, I read it. It was absolutely amazing, so I had to get myself a physical copy. So I saw the hardback going on eBay and picked it up. But yeah, this one's really great, and if you enjoyed And Then There Were None, you might like this one. And Then There Were None is like my all-time favourite Agatha Christie, and this one is similar. It's kind of a similar premise, but it's done very differently and in a much more modern setting, and it's great. I would highly recommend it. Next we have another pre-order that I haven't got to yet because it's absolutely massive, and this is Henry VIII, The Heart of the Crown by Alison Weir. Now I think it was start of this year, definitely last year maybe, that I was reading the 6 Tudor Queens series, and I did finish it. It was an amazing historical fiction series. I absolutely adored this one, and then I saw this one, which is going to be the same events, I imagine, just told from the perspective of Henry VIII, which will be really interesting because he wasn't painted in the best light by all of his wives. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see his side of events, and obviously he's going to have more to say about the politics potentially and the war that's going on, because his wives weren't with him all of the time. They often weren't allowed to be. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see his side of the story. No idea if I'll enjoy it. as much as the series or not, we'll have to see, because I picked those books up because I was a fan of Six the Musical. So yeah, I will get to this one at some point. It is absolutely massive. Yeah, it's about 600 pages, which it could be bigger, but as I said with this series, it does take me a while to get into them because it's historical fiction, and quite a lot of it is based on actual history, so at times it can be a bit dense, but I'm very interested and intrigued to pick this one up. The next book I picked up was from the works, and this was Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn. I think this is the sequel to Legendborn, I think it's called. Yeah, it's up there. An urban fantasy series. That's really all I know about it, I think. Is this the one that's based on Arthur in the Knights of the Round Table in something, and the one with the Welsh? Potentially, I don't know. But yeah, I've heard great things about Legendborn, and this one was on a sale for £2 or £3, so I had to have it. Again, cover's absolutely stunning, so yeah, I hope I love these books. The next one I picked up was The Murder of Graham Catton by Katie Lowe. I knew absolutely nothing about this, and then reading the blurb, it's almost like a podcast-based thriller, which does intrigue me. That's one of the things that I did like about the Good Girls Guide to Murder series, was some of the mixed media elements, and this was by Katie Lowe, who wrote The Furies, which I actually really enjoyed, so fingers crossed that this one is just as good. Right, and we are down to our last stack of books, so we are nearly done. The next book that I hauled, which was another pre-order and one that I have read, is You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Bayron. I read this one recently, in July, and yeah, it was a really great YA horror. I had the best time reading this book. The ending didn't quite go how I would have wanted it to, but it was still a really great time. It was creepy, it was gory, it was weird, and yeah, I'd highly recommend it. It's like 200 pages, so if you need a quick and easy book for spooky time, especially if there are readathons going on, definitely pick this one up. And again, another book with a stunning cover and gorgeous set of sprayed edges. Next, I hauled 4 books in a series, and this is One Piece. So I think I have all of the East Blue saga. So I've got volumes 1 through to 12 in the omnibus editions, and yeah, I've been having the best time reading One Piece so far. So at the moment I've read the first 9 volumes, so I've got 3 volumes left to read from the ones I own, but I'm having a great time. This is the first manga series that I've picked up, and it's full of pirates and adventure, and it's great. And yeah, I'm just hoping to get through the last volumes before the Netflix show comes out, because I saw that trailer and it was amazing and it convinced me to pick up the series. But yeah, I don't know if I'll have space for the whole series, because I think there are up to 100 volumes or so now, I think, and I've only got the first 12, and they're taking up like quite a big space on my shelf, so I might have to think of an alternative storage options if I do want to hold them physically. But yeah, I've got the first 12 volumes, and so far I'm having a great time. The next book that I purchased was a Fairy Loot special edition, and this is The Blood Traitor by Lynette Noni. This is the 3rd and final book in the Prison Healer trilogy, I think. I think it is only a trilogy, but yeah, I had the other 2 Fairy Loot versions, so I wanted to get this one as well. The sprayed edges are pretty cool, and it has gorgeous foiling underneath as well. But yeah, I haven't started this series yet. I was just hearing great things about it, and since I already owned the first one as a Fairy Loot edition, I decided to collect the rest in Fairy Loot editions as well, because if I read it and I do really love it, I would regret buying them, but if I don't enjoy them that much, I could always pass them on to someone else, so fingers crossed. The next books I hauled was one of my most anticipated releases for the year, and this was Love Phoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I've been loving all of her STEM romances so far. I've been having the best time, so I hauled the standard paperback edition, but then I also ordered the Illumicrate edition as well. This one did come in a box with other items and stuff, and I was going to unbox this on camera, but I took so long to film this that I had no patience, and I just had to unbox it, so they're all stashed away somewhere. But yeah, I did get some bookmarks, some alternative dust jackets, some pin badges, I think, with this book, and yeah. I love the recolouring on this one as well. I love the blue and the purple, and then we've got purple edges on there. They are a bit more purple in person versus on the camera, but not too much. But yeah, I've read this one already and it's really, really great. I'd say it stands in the middle. So my favourite is Love Hypothesis, Love Theoretically, and then Love on the Brain. So yeah. We are moving down to our last 3 books, and these are ones that I did pick up whilst I was on holiday recently in Wales. The first one I also picked up from the works because why not? And this one is A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating by Sarah Hawley. Absolutely fell in love with this cover and then read the blurb, and it seems to be some kind of fantasy romance. And yeah, there are witches involved, there are demons involved, it's a fantasy romance. Hopefully it will be a good time, and yeah, it was only £3, so an absolute bargain. The next one I hauled was from a charity shop for £1, and this one was Lockwood and Co by Jonathan Stroud. This one I think does have an alternative title. Yeah, it's called the It's called Lockwood and Co, which is the name of the series, but this book is the Screaming Staircase. But because they've put the Netflix poster on the front, they've just left it as Lockwood and Co. But yeah, I've been wanting to pick up this series since I watched the TV show. I had a great time watching the TV show. I thought it was amazing, and it's a shame that at the moment it's not going to be renewed for a second series. So yeah, I've been wanting to pick up these books, but not enough to like buy them brand new. So when I saw the first one for £1, I jumped and picked it up. And finally, the last book in this book haul, also picked up for £1 at a charity shop, and this was Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I've been hearing amazing things about this book. I think it's a sci-fi or sci-fi fantasy. I don't know much about it, I've just heard lots of people raving about this one, especially Becca from Becca in the Books. That's mainly where I hear so much hype for the series. But yeah, I'm just intrigued to give this one a go. I think there are quite a few books in this series now, and it is sci-fi, so I'll have to see how it goes. But yeah, if I can get hooked, then there's a chance this might be one of the first sci-fi series that I get invested in. So that's it. Those were all of the books that I've hauled since February. I have counted them, and in total there were 36 books. But I have read 15 of those already, which is over a third, which is great news. I'm not just hauling them and completely forgetting about them. At least I'm keeping on top of some of the hauled books and getting those read. But yeah, that's it. Hopefully next time I will have a smaller stack and I will remember to record a haul. That isn't like 5-6 months away. We'll see. But yeah, that's it. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books before and what did you think. But as always, I hope you are enjoying your current read, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!